Next, we are going to see examples for flowchart. The first example is addition of two numbers. Usually, the starting and ending portion of the flowchart are represented with the help of oval symbol. The inputs output statements are represented with the help of parallelograms. The executable statements are represented with the help of rectangular symbols. So this is the start of the flowchart. Next, we have to get input for two variables a comma b, hence it is given within this parallelogram. Next statement is an exe statement, that is executable statement. We have to add a with b and the result is stored in C. Next we have to print C, which is a output statement, and it is given in parallelogram. C equal to a plus b is an executable statement, hence it is given within rectangular box. And last is we have to end the flowchart. Next, example 2, greatest of two numbers. So start is the starting part of flowchart. Next is we have to get input for a comma b, so that should be written within parallelogram. Next is we have to compare a with b. So all comparing conditional statements or decision making statements are given within this diamond symbol. If a is greater than b, it has to choose the true portion. If it is a is greater than b, it has to print a is big. Else, if a is not greater than b, if the condition becomes false, then this portion is chosen, print b is big, and finally it comes to the end of the flowchart. Next, we are going to see what are the advantages and limitations of flowchart. So first we will see the advantages, later on we will see the limitations. Advantages: with the help of flowchart, communication or the data flow within the program is easily understood. Next, the effective analysis of the program is clearly defined while using flowcharts. Next, while using flowchart, we can efficiently code the program, and debugging can also be done easily when we are using flowcharts, and efficient program maintenance is also possible when we are using flowcharts. Next, we are going to see the limitations of flowchart. So flowchart, construction of flowchart is easy if the problem is simpler. As the problem grows, construction of flowchart will become very complex. It will become very high. Next, alterations and modifications. If any one portion of the flowchart is modified, then those things will be reflected in other portions of the flowchart also. And reproduction of the flowchart is little bit tough. Next, programming language. We have three types of programming language: high level, low level, and middle level programming language. Next, we will see algorithmic problem solving. So these are the steps involved in algorithmic problem solving. So first one is problem definition. Next one is problem analysis. Third one is algorithm development, program coding, program testing and debugging, documentation and implementation. So problem definition. This problem definition involves the clear description of the problem for which the algorithm is going to be constructed. Next is the problem analysis. Problem analysis involves the feasibility of the implementation of the problem. Next is algorithm development. So algorithm is nothing but a clear step-by-step plan for solving that particular problem. So such algorithm can be developed with the help of pseudocode or flowchart or in natural language itself. Next is the program coding. Program coding is nothing but conversion of the algorithmic statements into any programming language. Next comes the program testing and debugging. Once we have developed the program, we have to give the input data and test the program, and based on the testing results, we have to modify the program. Next is the documentation. So the documentation is nothing but the clear writing of the problem as well as the algorithm being constructed and the program and what are the different testing results. Everything will be taken as a proof of record. Next is implementation and maintenance. Implementation is nothing but once the algorithm program for that algorithm has been implemented using the programming language, it has been implemented in the real environment, and then we have to perform maintenance for that particular project. Next, illustrative examples. So the first example is finding minimum in a list. So this is the algorithm I have given. Next, this is the algorithm for towers of Hanoi. We will see one by one. So first, get the list of elements. So here list is nothing but an array of elements. First, we need to input all the array elements. Next, we have to assume the first element of the array as the minimum element. Next, we have to compare the minimum element with the next element. For example, if the minimum element we are taking, if A is the array, then A of 0 we have to take as the minimum element. Next, we have to compare A of 0 with the next element, that is A of 1. If minimum is greater than the next element, that is A of 1 is lesser than the minimum, then we have to assign minimum equal to next element. Then next we have to consider A of 1 is the next element, and we have to repeat the steps 3 and 4 till the last element. Now A of 1 will be the minimum element. Then next we have to go and check for the next element A of 2. If A of 2 is once again lesser than A of 1, once again we have to assign A of 2 to the minimum element. So we have to repeat the steps 2 and 3 repeatedly till the last element, that is A up to A of n. So after comparing all the elements, we will obtain the which is the minimum element among the given list of elements, and we have to display minimum element in the list. Next is the Towers of Hanoi. Towers of Hanoi is a game in which you are given with 3 pillars. The one is the starting pillar, next one is the ending pillar, and the intermediate one is the offset pillar. And you are given with n number of discs available. And you have to move all the discs from the starting pillar to the ending pillar, provided with the 2 conditions. So you can move only one disc at a time, and you cannot place a smaller disc, you cannot place a larger disc over smaller disc. So with these 2 conditions, you have to move the n number of disc from starting pillar to ending pillar. So these are the steps involved. If only one disc is available, that is n equal to 1 in the sense, you can immediately move from the starting to the ending disc. If n is greater than 1, that is more than one disc is available, first we have to call. This is a recursive call. Call Towers of Hanoi is the name of the function, disc minus 1, comma, start, offset, comma, end. Next, move disc, that is we have to move the first disc which is available at the topmost position. We have to move from start to the offset, that is the intermediate set. Next, move disc from start to end, and next is we have to move the remaining disc from the intermediate to the ending pillar. So in this way we have to write algorithms. Thank you.